Yeah, I wanted to talk about China and its advancements in the world. There was a time years ago that the United States was like the number one country. We were considered wealthy and astute and way ahead of everybody else, uh, economically, militarily, and technology. And all of a sudden, when Clinton left office, he left the country in what they called a black. We had extra money in the coffers, and we were in basically good financial shape. Whatever anybody thinks about Clinton, I'll have to admit that he left the country very solvent. Then the Bushes came in, and also Barack Obama and Trump. And all of a sudden, we owe China money. China has a larger navy than we do. They modernized a huge army and navy and so forth, and they're now the second largest economy in the world. And they're getting much more aggressive in the Japanese Sea, the Chinese Sea, around Formosa, which is, I guess, today Taiwan. And they now present more of a danger, and they're less concerned about how we feel about things. They're not really that worried about us as adversaries. They're willing to contend with us because they're in a good financial and military position. And it'll be interesting to see if our leaders today, Biden and anybody else coming up, will put us in a better position economically against China, militarily. The country has gotten very lax, and I would see February through April of 2023 as a real temperamental hotspot in the relationship between China and the United States. It seems like the leaders that we had since Clinton put us in a very bad position. The fact that we owe China money would have been unthinkable 50 years ago. When they had the idea, the concept of the Great Leap Forward, where they wanted to modernize China and make it a world power. And they had a plan for their country. And I wonder, who has a plan for our country? Who's going to be the person that goes up and says the United States should build itself militarily more, financially more solvent, and the political graft and the political singular ideas that somebody has is secondary to the national security and the solvency of this country as compared to any other country. The problem is that our country has failed to protect us. And I hope that they get my message, and I'm actually very unimportant in the scheme of things, believe me. But these are my ideas, and our country has really failed to put us in a good position, our leaders. The fact that we would have to borrow money from China 50, 60 years ago, they were pushing rickshaws in China when we had cars, and we developed mass production and the assembly line and everything else, and nobody would believe that we're starting to become a secondary power because our leaders are not protecting us.